You know that feeling, right? When you're so lost in something that time just seems to disappear? That's what we call the flow state. And today, we're going to break down the actual science of how you can get there pretty much whenever you want.
Yeah, that's the one. It's when you're just totally absorbed in what you're doing, productivity feels completely effortless, and it's like the creative ideas are just flowing right through you. Well, guess what? It's not magic. It's a state of peak performance that, believe it or not, we can all learn to tap into.
So, it's not just some random magical feeling. It has a name, the flow state. And that's huge, because once you can name something, you can start to really understand it. And more importantly, you can start to cultivate it.
That's right. Your ability to hit that peak performance isn't just some kind of art. It's a science. Those incredible moments of total focus, they're driven by very specific patterns of electrical activity inside your brain. And the best part is, we can actually measure it.
Okay, so it all starts with something called brain waves. These are basically the synchronized electrical pulses from billions of your neurons all talking to each other. You can think of them as the fundamental building blocks of whatever mental state you're in right now.
Now, your brain is actually producing a mix of all 5 of these rhythms, all the time, from that super high focus gamma all the way down to deep sleep delta. But here's the secret. Your mental state isn't about which waves are there, it's about which one is dominant in any given moment.
And to get into that flow state, we are laser focused on one in particular, alpha waves. This right here is the sweet spot. It's that state of relaxed wakefulness where you're calm, but you're also super sharp and alert. It is absolutely perfect for creative work, for learning new things, and for solving tough problems.
Think about it like this. A lot of us spend our days completely stuck in that stressful, anxious beta state. The goal, the real game changer, is to learn how to consciously shift into a relaxed yet alert alpha state. That's the secret sauce to doing that deep, meaningful work without all the mental strain.
So the big question is, how do we actually get there? Well, it's not about just sitting around and hoping for focus to strike. Neuroscience actually gives us some really practical techniques to train our brains to produce more of these incredibly valuable alpha waves.
So let's do this. We're going to walk through 4 powerful, research-backed methods. Taking your workout outside, practicing a little mindfulness, creating a unique pre-work ritual, and even training your brain directly.
First up, just get outside. Seriously. Research shows that just looking at nature's repeating patterns, scientists call them fractals, like the branches on a tree or the veins in a leaf, it naturally calms your brain and boosts those alpha waves. And if you pair that with even a short mindfulness practice, you can seriously cut down your stress and clear your mind for real focus. Okay, next, create a ritual. Now, this is a fascinating idea from neuroscience. You can actually teach your brain to slip into a creative state on demand. Take the author Steven Pressfield. Before he writes, he recites a specific quote and puts a tiny cannon on his desk. I know, it sounds a little odd, right? But the point isn't the cannon, it's the consistency. That repeated ritual becomes a powerful trigger for your brain to shift right into that alpha state.
And finally, this is incredible, you can train your brain directly with something called neurofeedback. You wear a headband that measures your brain activity, and you get real-time feedback. When you produce more alpha waves, maybe you get more points in a little game. Over time, your brain just learns how to do it on its own. It's exactly like learning to ride a bike. Your brain learns how to balance and regulate itself through practice and feedback.
All right, let's go one level deeper, because focus isn't just one thing. Think of that relaxed, creative alpha focus as the foundation. But when you need that intense, laser-like concentration, your brain actually builds on top of that foundation with another kind of brainwave, gamma. This comparison right here is so important. Alpha waves, they represent a state of what's called inhibitory control. Basically, you're filtering out all the distractions. Gamma waves, on the other hand, mean your brain is actively processing information and putting in some serious cognitive effort. They play different, but totally complementary roles.
And this is what that actually looks like. Check this out. The alpha waves, shown in blue, are generally dominant across the brain. That's a relaxed state. But then, look at that massive spike in gamma waves, in orange. Whoa, that's the brain zeroing in on a specific task, a moment of intense, laser-focused processing happening in one particular spot.
So the key takeaway here is pretty clear. A relaxed brain looks totally different from a hyper-focused one.
In that calm alpha state, the front of your brain is pretty active. But when you're in deep gamma-dominant focus, the activity shifts to other areas, the ones responsible for piecing all the information together and solving really complex problems.
So what does all this really mean for you? It means that focus, creativity, they aren't some mysterious forces that you just have to wait for. They're the direct result of specific, measurable activity in your brain. And by understanding how these states work, you gain a toolkit to actively manage your own mental performance and, really, your own well-being.
Look, your brain is this incredibly dynamic system, and it's constantly shifting between all these different electrical rhythms. The knowledge you have now gives you more control over that process. So the question isn't whether your brain is going to be active, it's what kind of activity you're going to choose to cultivate.